Good morning, good morning, good morning. And it's Saturday. This is your daily dose of Techniche tips, aka your Saturday morning cartoons. I'm here with Rob, none other than Rob himself. How you doing, brother? Is everything well?
What up? What up, man? Doing well. Yeah, Saturday morning cartoons with Joseph and Tech Tips. I'm all for it, brother.
Yeah, man. This is gonna be a blast. It's gonna have a really good time, y'all. But listen, I gotta tell you, thank you to the audience again for supporting the show. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if we could get there in probably the next month or so, we'll be very happy. We're around 1,700. Let's get to that 2,000 mark pretty quickly as this channel has just started to grow over the past year or so. So thank you so much for y'all that are supporting the channel. Like we always say, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. I do see my Instagram peoples as well. What up, Howard? Good to see you. Thank you for dropping in the show. Thank you, Britt, as well, for coming through. He actually said what's up as well to you.
Yo, what's
Unfortunately,
up?
those on IG, we can't see your comments, but if you're on YouTube or if you are on LinkedIn, your comments will drop. And speaking about the comments, I'm going to go to the comments right now. Peace and blessings, Operation Tech Takeover. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for stopping by. Oh, we got Mitch in the building as well. He
What up,
said thumbs
Mitch?
up. Say thumbs up. Howard actually from Instagram saying looking forward to the conversation. Man, we could have you come on and ask any questions if you want on LinkedIn or YouTube, Howard. So feel free to drop through over there as well. And then we got Operation Tech Takeover. He said, don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share this stream out, and subscribe. Always, thank you so much. And like he said here, there's a Q&A portion that we're going to be exclusively having right here on YouTube. So don't miss out. If you have any questions for Rob, we're going to definitely have an opportunity for you, the viewer, to ask questions. So you might be saying, oh, look, here he is.
It's
Howard is
Howard.
here.
Here's the man, the legend.
Admit the man, the legend. He said definitely will, and he is here. He is here. But listen, let me just say this right now, y'all. This is we have many guests on the show, but there's not probably one of the busier men that I've interviewed besides Howard than Rob here. Rob is doing so much. He's a keynote speaker. He's into the blockchain, into the AI world. He's also in Web3 in development there. He has a lot of things going on as well as the Midwest Con. I'm not going to steal his thunder now. I'm not going to steal it. I just want to give a standing or sitting ovation, if you're depending on where you're at, to Rob. Rob, welcome to the show. So glad to have you on.
Hey, Joe, it's really, really good to be here. You know, from one tech person to another. I also have a podcast, which I would also love people to like and subscribe to. And I have to have Joseph on. You're going to hear a lot of things me say over and over again is about disruption. And I'll tell you why I use that word. It has a lot to do with my story. But anyway, I'm just thankful for what you do, brother. Thankful for all of you who are taking your time on a Saturday to come listen to people talk about tech and their stories. So I appreciate you having me here. Appreciate the opportunity and looking forward to the conversation.
Likewise. And so, listen, I gave you a little bit of an introduction. And good morning, Darcel. So glad to have you on the show as well. I know he's happy for this episode because he's clapping it up right now. But we met in Washington D.C. at a conference that had a huge amount of people and Techgiving, right? Techgiving Summit to be specific. And Ty Smith, our mutual friend, introduced us, and he's
Ty's
like,
the man. He connects everybody. I hope he's listening. So
yeah, and you know what's so funny? Every time, even in the beginning or the middle of the stream, he's always there. So I appreciate Ty. He's gonna come through. But for those that don't really know what you do, I know I gave you some highlights, but let's just start off with all that you're doing right now, and then we'll unpack your story.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So, I'm a man that's lived many lives. So I'll tell this life right now. So I'm actually I'm very much into technology in terms of, you said it, the blockchain and AI, which a lot of people don't understand that there's a lot of intersection between that. And I'll dive more into that because everyone's in the hype of AI right now. And it is a big transformative thing, but AI will also be incorporated with blockchain in many other ways. But so I have a company called Disrupt Now on the technical side. And the easiest way to describe what we do is think Pokemon Go meets brand loyalty or events. So when people go to certain places, you're able to claim a digital collectible, collect it, but it's not for something where we're like flipping art necessarily. It's something where it'll gain you access to a product, to a discount, to an experience. And so I think the mistakes that people made within Web3 when the hype was happening with NFTs and things like that is it's similar to, and I'm going to age myself a little bit. I know I look young, but I had a little bit of experience. I was in college during the .com bubble, And now the NFT bubble, I think, is very similar to what happened there. So if you don't know, just very quickly, I want to just give people an understanding of this. Uh, During the .com, people were just selling .coms and overhyping their value, right? So do you know what business.com was valuated at, like, before the crash? Like, what do you think it was valuated at in terms of how much just owning that domain was worth? What do you think?
I'm gonna put it in the chat for the audience as well.
Yeah,
Let us know in the chat how much you think
exactly.
business.com was valuated at. I want to hear your responses, and
I
we're
do. I
gonna.
want to hear it. I want to hear. Take a guess what you think it was valued at, and I'll come back to that because I want to have people say that. But it was
Yeah.
over. But things were overhyped, and so NFTs, you saw that happen. You know, oh, I got a bear, $5 million. Like what? Like, you know,
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up.
people are like, and people believe this, and there were obviously some people that were building a hype, and it was a bubble. But the technology of NFTs are digital assets are very, very real. It's a reason why there was a crash with Bitcoin for a while when things were down, but it's back up because the technology is valuable. So let's talk about it. Like, just high level, what an NFT is a digital fingerprint. It allows you to have it's something that's unique. It's an identifier. Now, one might be saying, why is that valuable? Oh, in a world where everything is going to be artificial, wouldn't you want to have verification that it came from, Joseph Smith and it's you and not somebody impersonating you? How will we know that right now? Are we going to
Yeah.
have to just trust Google, trust a few companies who will own all the data without disclosing that? Like, I'm not anti them. I'm pro making sure we understand how our data is verified. The power of blockchain, I look at it like this because it gets confusing to people that don't
Yeah.
understand. I explained it very simply. Everybody understands how Google Docs works. Think of it like Google Docs without Google. Everybody has access to the data, but nobody can manipulate it. And that's why
Mm.
it's so important, I think, to understand why blockchain is important for verification and for ownership. And so we're taking that concept, but we got to make it easy for people. So, like, you don't even think about NFT when you get there. For us, you collect something. You might be at your favorite restaurant, your place. You claim that you get a chance to be a part of their loyalty program. So loyalty programs aren't boring. It's really gamification of loyalty programs and events, and that's what we do, right? On the technical side, on the MidwestCon side, we like to say it's where policy meets innovation and technology creates social impact. So we're all about social impact. We're all about making sure that people are meeting policymakers and decision makers that are actually implementing technology. But we want to make sure those policymakers and others, from mayors to governors, everybody else, understand the technology and understand why they need to make sure that they're thinking about it from not just the narrow perspective, usually like how technology has been done. There's no other way to say this, but it's been a predominant West Coast white male dominated perspective. And what that's done
Mm.
is that, those values and systems don't have that diversity of perspective. So when AI uses facial recognition, oh, surprise, it comes up with biases. Oh, it
Yeah.
misidentifies people. That's one of many different examples, right? So, like, we have to understand as we create these policies around what data and AI looks like, we need to be in the room making sure that policymakers understand the technology, but understand how to create policy that is going to make this technology more inclusive, more transparent, and build more trust. So that's one side. At the conference, we also focus on the creator economy, like how creators need to understand how to use Web3 and AI to enhance what they do. It's not replace it. Like, this is if you go to artificial intelligence to give you all the answers, you're going to be average and you're going to come up with dumb answers. Artificial intelligence
Yeah.
is neither artificial nor intelligent. You have to
Mm.
understand a process that you're bringing to it, and then it enhances your creative ability. So creating augmented intelligence versus authentic intelligence. But we want to help and really make sure that creators from podcasters, particularly branding and marketing, are using these extremely powerful tools and thinking about how to do that. So we bring in experts. That's obviously what our business does, but we really focus on that. And the third part is, like, what are we doing technology for social impact? So our goal is to be really the leading conference when it comes to social innovation across the nation, but we're going to start in the Midwest. So, that's kind of our niche. That's what we do. And certainly we want to build our community. It's going to be a very accessible price, but it's going to go up over time as we get closer to the actual conference. But, I'm an ecosystem builder at my heart. I've done a lot from education and everything else. So this is bringing together really the things I care about: policy, uh, education, and technology, as well as social impact. I care about all those things, and I'm blessed enough to be able to do those things.
Yeah, and I we're all blessed to hear it from it and reap the benefits of your knowledge, because I think a lot of people, like you said, it gets confusing. Like, what's the purpose of blockchain? Oh, I
Yep,
just thought it was cryptocurrency. I
that's
didn't.
right.
It's just kind of in this tunnel vision versus kind of seeing the larger scope of what this can truly be. I got to go to the comment section real quickly because I did get a response from someone. Mitch said
Okay,
about 50 to 100 million. I'm guessing. LOL. I think
that's a good guess.
around that 20 plus times of evaluation, just a guess, I like
Yep.
that. I like that. And then what,
Any
what,
other
would you-
guess?
what
I'm
would
not
your
giving the
response
answer.
be? He's the first one, and I'm looking at Instagram. I don't have any responses from there, but
Okay.
what would you say it would be in regards to that?
Do you
Because
want me to give
the
you what the
answer.
answer was?
Yeah,
Or
because
do you want to wait? It was like $350 million. Right. It
ooh,
was a lot. And so to tell you where it was at, I think it was around that amount. I have to look at it again. But anyway, that was a good guess where he was in the it was ridiculous, right? So like
yeah,
that you saw the same thing happen. But here's what people need to know. It's not that technology, obviously everything is on a .com almost now, right?
yeah,
It's how do you build value behind the technology and the infrastructure that was built. There was
yeah,
some value to having a .com and definitely having a name, but it wasn't what it was. Same thing with
yeah,
NFTs, right? NFTs are another way actually of having and identifying ownership, and it's a powerful tool, but it got lost in the hype bubble and the hype cycle, right? And so
yeah,
that happened. Obviously, blockchain technology, the first application was cryptocurrency, but
yeah,
what that allowed people to do, right, is the reason why that happened is because everybody could see who owed what, and nobody could manipulate that. That's really, let me say that again, right?
mm,
Why that was so powerful is everybody could see it. It's a shared database that no one could manipulate and can so far have not done,
yeah,
because it's like it's Google Docs without Google, because everybody is sharing the data across tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of computers all across the nation. So it's not something all across the world, frankly.
wow,
So unless you shut down the internet, you're not going to be able to shut down blockchain, which is why I really want people to letting the media and letting hype and letting other people dictate you. Like I remember a CEO from a large bank, I don't have to say who it is, was telling everybody Bitcoin's a scam, Bitcoin's a scam, blockchain's a scam,
yeah,
while they were buying hundreds of millions of blocks of
mm,
Bitcoin. And now that's when the price was down. I was telling everybody, I'm not giving financial advice. Don't take this as
yes,
financial advice.
yeah.
What I'm saying is, don't pay attention to what people say. Study what they do. Nothing else matters.
Yeah, that is really good advice. Darcel said that price is crazy. To think that that was the price
It was
that what people were.
16,000. I bought some at 16,000 more. I was like, because I understood, but you understood the game. Like there's whole systems being built, data centers.
Yeah.
There are security systems because
Wow.
a Bitcoin structure under Bitcoin and other blockchains are the most secure for cybersecurity. So when people are over
Mm,
here talking about all this other stuff about like it's a scam, stuff like, yes, scammers gonna scam, players gonna play, haters gonna hate.
yeah.
Like when anything is new and there's like so, but you need to pay attention to what's happening and the basis of the technology, because it's not as nearly as complicated as people are making it out to be. AI is
Mm,
actually much more complicated than blockchain, right?
mm,
But like I think people just need to understand that, and don't get intimidated because you see these things happening. Like try to pay attention, try to read between the lines, not the headlines in terms of what the media does, because they only
yeah.
really promote fear and drama. They don't unfortunately give information unless we're on a show like this. This is why I like these type of shows versus being on the big shows, because these are shows you can actually talk about things and get into depth. So sorry I went down a rabbit hole.
No, no, I love it. And it led me to another question though. So because there's so much misinformation out there, where would somebody who is interested in learning more about blockchain specifically right now, or even Web3, where should they find their sources of information? You mentioned the podcast. Could you dive
Yeah,
deeper into that?
I mean, CoinDesk is a good one. NFT now has some good information as well. Um, I mean, so those are sources that I would start with. And then there are some people that I have to look and give you some other places that I would go. But now I would look at if you're looking to see what happens, now use this as a lesson because it's not too late. Like use this as a lesson when people like literally all those banks were saying this stuff is a scam.
Yeah.
And they literally were waiting to get, and this was public information. Like people just weren't following. They were just distracting people headline. They were literally getting their own fund and waiting to get it approved so they could control the narrative. So this is also what I want to tell people. I think it's extremely important to know the basics of block and to know how to use and start experimenting. The best way to actually learn, so let me say, is to do. Like that's what I think. So I think even if you start off, learn what it's like to buy a little small piece of cryptocurrency. One, just to learn. Like, don't do this to figure out how you're going to make $1 million. Don't do it that way. Learn the basics by just going through a process. I say the same thing for AI. Get on and learn how to use generative AI because right now is the time to do it because everybody in about 3 to 5 years, everybody's going to have it and then it's not new anymore. So if you want to actually learn how to scale and amplify whatever you do, like this is, you really lean into these new tools because they're really transformative. For me, they've helped. They like in terms of AI going to that, like it's helped me be able to get and produce more content, brainstorm much better. But you got to go and play with the tools. It won't replace you, but if you are a creative, if you are a writer, like I know people are hesitant and want to use it for lots of reasons, but there is, to me, my perspective, no good reason not to learn and experiment because this is the time when opportunities are created and then it's going to change again.
Yeah. That's a really good point, y'all. If y'all are getting some good information, go ahead and like this. Share this with somebody else who's interested in either AI, Web3, or also the blockchain. I got to go to the comment section real quickly. Got Tech Coach Ralph in the building. Says, good morning. Just got here. Just like and share the video. Make sure you do the same. Totally appreciate you, man. Great advice, Howard says. And I'm laughing also because Tech Coach Ralph just came back and said, Rob is sharing all my secrets. No. Because here's the thing, you got to make sure that you are at least playing around with different tools, even if it's something new and you're like, I don't know how I could leverage this yet. Just go ahead and get started.
Trust me, you will figure it out. Like I'm just like, I spend as much time as I can. I think people should spend a couple hours here on a Saturday and a Sunday playing around, experimenting. Like I do that with, so people like for Chat GPT, like I'm surprised a lot of people probably don't know this. They have their own apps now, right? So you can go, you have to pay for the service. It's not a lot. It's $20 a month and it is worth it. So you can go, if you're into video editing, they got a video editing app that you can ask questions and advice and save you a lot of time, right? There are also tools if you're into content, you have long form content, it will literally provide short clips for you. It's not always right in terms of how the best spots it picks, but it saves you so much time on editing. You can then shorten it. I mean, I'm just giving you examples, and
shout out to Opus Clip.
Right, Opus Clip is video AI is another. Whatever you want to use. The point is, like, no matter what you do, if you're a writer, I can't think of any type of profession that doesn't have some benefit around understanding how you can get better, more ideas, build on your concepts with incorporating AI into what you do.
Yeah, so, it sounds good. And you kind of hit on it, so I'm going to go there right now. You talked about content creation. What it made you decide to jump into being a podcaster, to starting Disrupt now? Like, what made you decide to make that pivot so that people that missed it earlier and also add a little bit more to the story?
It's a great question because it comes with I have to go into a small story, so give me a second. So most of my career was aimed at that I was going to be into public policy, politics. So I did run for office, and everything I do is driven by how I can have a bigger impact on the world and empower people. So my story, I don't have any type of poverty story. However, my struggles were with education early on, and so I have ADHD, which I consider a superpower now. But growing up, like in my early education, and not knowing how to actually, not understanding my learning style, and not having teachers that would really adapt to you. They had one way of teaching, so I struggled in school like early on. But I remember like the light bulb went out, went off, I should say, and clicked on for me towards the end of the 8th grade, and I had a conversation with my teacher that I'll never forget at that time. I told her, Joseph, all my like dreams and aspirations about how I wanted to do these things, and I wanted to like commit myself to being a serious student. She essentially told me, "There's no way you're going to be able to do those things because you're not you're not a good student. Everybody's not meant to go to college to do those things." And I'm here crushed. But luckily, I had a much better conversation with my parents, specifically my mother, who said, "Look, you don't have to be defined by anyone's low or narrow expectations of you. You define yourself for yourself, by yourself." So I've had a lot of success. I got to be the youngest chairman of the board at the University of Cincinnati, helped lead their innovation agenda. Ended up running for office for treasurer of the state of Ohio. The good news is I thought I needed about 1.8 million votes. I got over 2 million votes, but still didn't win. Right. So I pivoted back. So once I didn't win, I had to figure out like, well, what am I going to do here? And so I wanted to figure out a way to still continue to make a difference, have my voice out.
Hold on. How you get 2 million votes and not win?
I got over 2 million votes. It was he got more than 2 million votes.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
He didn't expect it. And, you know, we were, it was a state. I'm in Ohio.
Okay.
It was a state we thought was a bellwether state. We're not. We're basically a right-leaning state. And you know, the president, the former occupant of the White House, which I don't like to say his name, was really driving like a lot of division. And so first-time voters voted for my opponent, even though I outraised him out. He thought he was going to lose, but because of that momentum really helped carry him over. Such is life, right? So
yeah,
I pivoted, and then I wanted to figure out. So I got into podcasting first. Media is where I started, to really talking about disrupting common narratives and constructs after that. And then that led into doing these events, and then that led into doing events, and eventually got me into tech. My background is electrical. I have electrical engineering undergrad, and I went to law school. So I'm not like totally foreign to understanding things technical. But once I really started having events around tech, I really began to see like where we can have impact in terms of really changing dynamics is becoming a builder in the technical world.
Yeah,
really. And I started around blockchain. It's evolved, but I see all these issues and problems, and I believe a lot of them center now around technology, and because technology is taking a lot of our current situations and is scaling them. And most of the time it's scaling bad things, like unfortunately. So you need people that have the intent of trying to create social impact versus only try to make profit. We can do both. But like how algorithms and everything else work, they're working in a way that is not trying to promote unity. It's not trying to promote education. It's promoting engagement at any and all costs. And what that focuses on is moral outrage, people thinking about conspiracy. So I begin to see that building responsible technology and all those things are really tied to the mission that I care about, empowering people. And so that's why I'm into it. And that's how I got into it.
Wow. And you touched a couple of things there that we definitely got to talk about, but I got to go to the comment section real quickly. Tech Coach Ralph said, we spend more at Starbucks and Chick-fil-A a month in regards to when you were talking about fiddling and working and touching and playing around with AI. It's so true.
He's not wrong.
I think some people spend that much per day. What do you think about those different things as well? And wait a second, we got a super chat in the building. Calistro, thank you so much for dropping that. Definitely appreciate it so much. So thank you so much for dropping that super sticker there. Beautiful. See, hashtag on passive. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. This is definitely well appreciated. So thank you so much for rocking with us today. And go ahead, y'all. If y'all have any comments or questions for Rob, go ahead and put it in the chat. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save it for later for our Q&A portion, where you, the audience, are going to be able to ask your questions to Rob. But right now, I'm gonna do a little pivot because you mentioned events, and I want to just point out the one that you have coming up very soon in September. And that is Midwest Con.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, I was going to ask you to tell me about it. So
So this is our third year, and I said our goal is to be like the largest social innovation summit in the world. Essentially, you really have to start somewhere. So it's about making sure we align policy, creativity, and social impact. Those are kind of our three buckets.
Yeah.
And so you'll be meeting with folks that are it's a very diverse section of people. There'll be decision makers from Proctor. So at Cincinnati, I'm from Cincinnati, I should say, and we're hosting this in Cincinnati. And some of you probably look like, Cincinnati, why? Well, let me tell you a couple of reasons. That a lot of reasons you may not know. Number one, the University of Cincinnati, which I'm an alumnus from, student body president, also got a chance to serve as chairman of the board. We're the most likely to produce unicorns than almost any university in the United States. Like that study just came out.
Really?
Number two, we have two of the largest consumer facing organizations in the world. Procter & Gamble is based in Cincinnati, as well as Kroger, which is the largest grocer in the world. And we'll have decision makers and executives from both of those organizations involved in here. So we look at it as like, really starting with the Midwest, which working to be a hub there. There's a lot of opportunities at our conference, which is we're not like a 10,000 conference. Our goal is like we'll probably have 700 to 1,000 people, and we're going to have curated sessions, particularly those who get the VIP tickets and those who are early, who buy early on the tickets, because it's more important to me for you to have curated sessions. And what I mean by that is that in these smaller rooms of 50 to 75 to 100, we make sure you meet the people that are these decision makers. You get a chance to connect with them. We really try to make sure we understand what you want to get out of the conference and make it and give you an opportunity to either get leads or make deals. Because at the end of the day, like, we're going to have fun events and parties and all that, I promise. But the goal is, if you come out of this and you don't have any type of opportunities for leads, any type of opportunities for additional business and knowledge and connections, that is the point of conferences. And I know a lot of conferences focus on who was the latest celebrity there and all that stuff. Not our focus. Like, we're not that conference, right? So like, it wouldn't be the conference that you should go to if you're looking to, see who the biggest celebrity shows up. That's not us. Now, if you're looking to get an opportunity to build your business, if you're in anything that does government business, if you're in anything that's in branding and marketing, we're going to have people there that are combining branding and marketing and tech. And if you have a business that's focused on social impact, and I'll give you some examples, like Scully, the brother that just sold his business $30 million. We're finalizing him to come on because he's going to talk about his new business using AI to help workforce development. If you are, I think we're finalizing Rodney Williams. He's about there, but he started solo funds to interrupt and disrupt pay loan lending, to have peer-to-peer lending. So those are the type of people that we're bringing here because they fit within what we're trying to do. So, and so if you're a business in these areas, you're looking to get funding, or you're looking to get opportunities to meet with customers, like we would be your target type of conference.
Wow.
So yeah.
Love it. And I'm actually on Instagram as well. So if you see me looking off screen, that's what I'm looking at.
No, you're good.
I have Britt Miller. Shout out to Britt Miller. They can't see your comments, so I'm going to read it. He basically says, I'm from Cincinnati. Hey, yes, we're slept on. The city is great. I'm a city bus driver trying to make the career switch into tech.
Oh, well,
love it. That is amazing. And if you are trying to make that switch, it really depends on what I'm going to look a little pause here, but it really depends on what you're looking to do. I'm an SDR, transitioning to tech from working in solar sales. If that's something that you're interested in doing, you could check out different courses as well. Like, I did course careers, there's level careers, and even do software development, as well as even things that are not really technical at all, like HR and things of that nature. So if you want to check that out, just come over to the YouTube channel, and we could definitely, check out. It's in the description, any of those courses that you're interested in taking. I'm going to open up some other courses as well for people that I sort of endorse based off my experience in evaluating them. So whatever interested you have, just definitely reach out, Britt Miller. Thank you so much for that comment. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll just to encourage Britt too, like, don't get discouraged. People will try to put you in a box and say, like, why do you think you can do tech? A whole bunch of people that didn't have technical backgrounds do a whole bunch of technology. So you need to work with the right crew. Definitely go to Joseph and people like that will help encourage you, because your community will help too.
Yeah, that helped me out a lot. That helped me out a lot when I was going through it, because there were some other people. Shout out to the Whartons as well, Tia and Justin, that were trying to transition at the same time we were, having that camaraderie. Tech Bag Trey as well, other people that we had like a group around. Even the camaraderie right now that we have with Ty Smith, for example.
Absolutely.
Like, as you grow, Howard as well, you know, everybody that's here from Scott to Mitch, to Tech Coach Ralph, everybody that's here, like your community will grow. And it's always good to be in support and also camaraderie with one another and try to help spur each other on. So speaking about that, if you see Tech Coach Ralph, he has a YouTube channel as well. So go ahead and check him out. He's here blasting up my stuff right now. But go ahead
let me say
check
one other
out
thing
Tech Coach
too.
Ralph. Yeah,
A
go
big
ahead.
part of what we do with MidwestCon, if you've ever done a hackathon, we have a hackathon around multiple levels from gaming to design. So if you go to Future of Data Hackathon, click on that real quick.
Yeah.
And so we also have, even if you've never done a hackathon and you want to focus on like social impact and things like that, we're going to have coaches from we're going to have developers and others help you work through it if you want to do that too. So for hackers anywhere you want to come join us, we're going to have a whole bunch of prizes from cash prizes to other prizes from corporations, from AWS to many others. So that's also something specifically. We're talking about the future of data hackathon. So you can both do hacking within the AI section or blockchain or both. So and you can focus on social impact. So you don't have to know how to even do coding necessarily. If you have a concept that you want to design, we can end up figuring out how to get you on a team to help come up with the concept too.
Yeah, like you said, you have beginner tracks for AI, blockchain, and visualization. So that's pretty cool. I have some comments in the YouTube section. Before I do, shout out to Howard, the brother in the building, dropping another super chat here. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for doing that. We definitely appreciate it. He said an awesome guest today, loving the story of his pivot. Yeah, I admit sometimes it may feel hard to pivot, and there's people that I know that are probably watching who are in the same boat. Like we just talked to Britt, who was like, I'm transitioning from being a bus driver, trying to make a pivot there. Also, some people in the chat that I know personally are trying to make a pivot.
Absolutely. I have advice for them. It's 3 different P's in life. Like you got, one is persistence, where you have to just push through. Another one though is patience, because you can be persistent and then get frustrated that things aren't working at the timeline you think. And so like there's this balance between those two. But the third is sometimes you have to pivot. Sometimes you're not focused on the right problem. You're not in the right community. You're like, pivoting is a constant necessity in life, and it's extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And if you're around the wrong crowd, they're going to discourage you from pivoting. So like pivoting is tough, but it's very, very necessary for growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And he actually said, I'll add humility to that as well.
Absolutely.
Like being humble enough to make that pivot, because a lot of people may say, man, I just spent money, time, time, talent, and treasure to get here. Now I got to pivot again.
Yep. It's called sunk cost bias. It's a fallacy you do in your brain that because you put so much into something, you have to keep doing it. And it's something that holds people back a lot in life. I agree.
Yeah, man. You know, Operation Tech Takeover, he says, my neck of the woods since I'm in Connecticut. So he's like, you're not too far. So he might pop over there. Hopefully he does.
Come through. Yes, make sure they sign up on MidwestCon.live and we'll be on the mailing list with me, because we're going to come out with tickets, and I'll get something for we'll make it we'll do a special discount for any of your people. If you want to give them if there's some way to collect people that got on here today, what I can do is send them a specialty like discount and access based upon this show. So just let me know and I'll do that. Like I'll put it in tech tips.
Yeah. And what I'll do is I'll post something in the comment section, but also I'll make a video for that just so people are aware. Because I would love to have more people here, because what you're doing here with policy and that's something we could talk about for sure. Listen, y'all, I'm not even going to make it exclusive to YouTube today. This is a all out family affair. So if you're on Instagram, if you're on LinkedIn or YouTube, we'll just keep it running today, because this is real good. Operation Takeover says, talk about it in regards to pivot. Talk about it. So good. So good.
I want to say, like, people understand the level of people that are going to come there. So you look at Paul Griswold. He's the chief legal counsel for Coinbase, right? Wow. The largest crypto exchange in the world. He's coming. So Noelle Silver, she helped create Amazon Alexa. She's been one of the leaders in AI for the last 15 years. She now is, I think, leading a lot of the AI and policy at Accenture. Like she's she's really like done a lot, from worked at Amazon to Microsoft, helping them all build their AI components. These things that you see now, she's been doing that for 15 years and helping to build. So just give you a sense of some of the people that are going to be there.
Wow.
Carell Cooper is the president of advertising at Group Black, which is the largest Black media collective actually in the world. Robert
Wow.
Gordon used to be Deputy Defense Secretary in the Obama administration. So anyway, I'm giving people like the
Yeah.
level of expertise that'll be in the room. Cohen is one of the leaders in transparent AI in the world. He's based at UC. So anyway, you guys get it, like the level of people that are coming. Claude is the leader of Chicago Tech Week, Startup Week. And so he's going to come there. So again, we're connected to the Midwest. So
That's beautiful. In fact, I work in my company does AI for contact centers for different organizations. So this right here is really, really good because we have to get these minds together.
exactly.
Policy is going to have to catch up to what we're doing, because
Absolutely.
eventually, you saw what happened recently with, I won't say the company's name, but there was an issue with personal information,
Yep.
and AI being used, and it was a big issue with this company. And so policy is going to be formed around this eventually. They're starting on it already. So having these conversations, being in the same room, is paramount, especially if we're looking to be in the space and grow. But let me go back to the comment section because it is roaring here. We have Howard. Yeah, he was like pivoting for sure. Yeah, he was talking about pivoting earlier. And then persistence, patience, and pivot, Darcel says, all great pillars to refer back to frequently. Love it. We got Danny Boy in the building. Danny Boy says, I've been in sales my entire career, but I'm looking to pivot into fintech and blockchain industries. Where should I start my search?
Ooh, I mean, that's I mean, I would tell him to start his search on. I would have him just have him email me. Like
Okay.
I'd have him email me because I can point him to a few directions, because it's. I mean, there's so many in fintech and blockchain. I would ask him a few questions there, but I would just say get involved with the community. It could be Solana, it could be Ethereum, it could be like get involved in some communities and just start asking questions about it. Like so I'm not a big lover of X, Twitter, whatever they're calling themselves, but this is but there's a lot of great communities really on there to really kind of like grow and learn from. So and I'll give you a few. It just depends upon like that's a really broad term in terms of saying like fintech and blockchain, because there's a lot of things
Yeah.
you could do in there, right? So it's to me, the first thing I would do is do even some basic research about those areas in sales and go on to YouTube. That's probably one of the best places to actually check out. And then begin to make sure that you have at least a base knowledge of understanding, and then
Mm-hmm.
just start asking questions and going on literally spaces and things like that. There's a lot of spaces on on blockchain and different things. Go onto there and just start going in the comments and ask questions, and then I really think you're going to be able to find like your kind of niche. It's also worth going to some conferences. So like I would
Yeah.
say it's a little late now. If you're looking to go into blockchain, NFT NYC is probably one of the main ones. Obviously, you can come to our conference. There'll be people that you can meet within sale, like because it's such a broad thing you're saying about terms of sales. So there's a lot of ways to really do this. I would also say Joseph, like literally he has some courses. Like if you're looking to get into sales, like the same thing that applies in blockchain and fintech apply to all of tech. Like you got to understand how to have a conversation in tech, and
Yeah.
then you can approach how to sell it. So I would say definitely go to his go to his courses, because they'll probably have some good advice. Finally, there's a book I would recommend about how to actually go up that it applies to sales across the board. It's going to sound counterintuitive, but giving out free game here. It's called Never Split the Difference. It's a book
Yeah.
I would read.
I've heard of
Uh,
it.
you read it before, Joseph?
No, I've heard of it. It's on my
Yeah,
list.
you should read it, because it teaches you, I think, a more effective way to go about any type of negotiation or sales. So that's my advice.
Love it, love it. And if you think about courses specifically, because you do have an extended background in sales, I would recommend a course from Kevin Dorsey called Leveled. It's part of Level Careers, but it's an account executive course where it teaches you about the entire sales cycle, teaches you about the terminology in SaaS. And if you don't know, Kevin Dorsey is like an SVP level three times over, he has built sales organizations from the scrap to become multiple $1 million organizations. We're
What's the name?
talking
I need to know that name
eight,
too. What's the
eight,
name?
9 figures. It's called Level Careers,
Level
Levele.
Careers. Okay. It's
And
a
his
book.
name, it's not a book. It's actually a course.
Okay.
And his name is Kevin Dorsey. He's pretty big in the SaaS industry when it comes to
Okay.
tech sales. But yeah, let me go to Instagram. I'm gonna come back to you. Let me go see if Instagram had anything. No, Instagram is good. But yeah, Tech Coach Ralph actually had something he wanted to add on to that. He said having the right strategy to transition is also important. I see a lot of frustration, but no game plan. No game plan. That's a good point.
Yeah. Was that a question? I think it's,
I think it's like a statement
yeah,
following up to what you
I think
said.
that's true. But I also say the best strategy is to start, right? To pivot. So like a lot of people will, the other side of that is that they'll plan and think about ways that things could not work out and things like that. So I think it's a balance between having some idea of where you want to go. You definitely have to know where you want to go and why you want to go there. Like that to me
Yeah.
is the most important part of your strategy. Then you figure out, okay, who are the top 2 or 3 mentors that I need to reach. And there are people that are, I guarantee you, there are people that are local in your community that can be people that you can connect with. Figure out where they are and go try to reach them out and try to provide value or try to, and some people just like to actually teach people. Just say you're interested in learning, go out and do those things. That to me is the best strategy. And then you will gain it because there's no strategy is something that's a living, breathing thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good advice. I'm laughing at the comment section. I'm sorry. Did I say Connecticut? I meant Kentucky. If I said Connecticut before, I probably was looking at Instagram and saw something else. So I apologize about that. But you actually addressed this earlier. You talked about different events happening. You mentioned yours, obviously, being in Ohio. You mentioned something in New York. Is there anything else that you want to add to the events that people could check out?
Not off the top of my head. He asked, do I have events in the East Coast? I had more a couple years ago. We're probably going to start having more in 2025. Yeah. But we went back and tried to just get more organic growth. But in the East Coast, I mean, if you're looking at blockchain, NFT, NYC, I would definitely go there. CES is not that's in the West Coast usually, isn't it? CES is a really good conference that I would go to. Mm-hmm. There's obviously South by Southwest, but you go to these places though, you have to have a strategy when you go, especially bigger conferences you can go there and just waste money. So make sure you go and have connections and you think about people that can lead you to the right people. Otherwise you can end up spending money and not getting much out of it.
Yeah, and it goes back to the strategy that was, I guess, what Technical Craft was alluding to, and this is what he mentioned too. Like, what role you're looking for, like being really specific about who you want to talk to when you get into these rooms. Like you said, you have curated, breakout sessions and opportunities there. Like being very strategic about what you want to do is so important.
And reaching out to people too is like social media is great, but then don't give these DMs without any context. Like, if you're going to reach out to people, show them that you've done some research on them and show them how you can provide them in some type of way. Like as you're reaching out to people that can help you, because I can't tell you how many DMs all of us probably get. It's like, oh yeah, I like what you're doing. Can we connect? Don't send those type of DMs. That's a non-strategic DM. Like be specific about what you're looking for and how you want to connect. And because these general ones will get ignored.
So true. Yeah, be specific. People's time is very valuable. So you want to make sure they understand what you want out of that conversation. Yeah, and I got Howard back again. The man. Everyone should be a prompt engineer to some degree and use that as an entry point also for those looking to pivot. That's leveraging your existing Silkit sketch. We didn't even talk about that, but that's really the thing that a lot of people are talking about is being a prompt engineer. Could you share what your thoughts are on this subject?
I agree to an extent. I think what you have to do, in a world where everybody's where automation is being automated.
Yeah.
What can't be automated is you, right? What makes you unique? So like really building your skill sets and understanding like the frame of thinking, because you become a great prompt engineer. I think you should understand how to do prompt engineering, but that's even something you can learn to do and teach the AI to help you do that. So you can learn that. So you have to think like you being precise about how you describe a problem and how you're looking to get it resolved. But I think that comes with really understanding what problem you're solving and what you can do uniquely. Like, how are you being, like one of my friends, Lisa Fancyfied, she's big into the crypto space. She recently had a big event in Washington D.C. about authentic intelligence. Nobody can replace you. So what is it that you do well? What is it that you're passionate about? And then how can you align that using artificial intelligence to help you amplify those things?
Yeah.
And then to Howard's point, yes, prompt engineering is just learning how to state the issue or the problem you're looking for in such a way that that the algorithm will give you a better answer. But some of that takes truly practice and just framing the problem and bringing it up, right? And going through. This is why, like, the best way to become good at this is by doing it. Like, it's like really getting out there and start experimenting about what that looks like, right? Because it's I think that's the best way to do it. But prompt engineering is important. I think what's most important is to figure out, like, what is it that you are trying to, what problem are you trying to solve? How can you create some unique impact based upon your natural skill set and who you are? Because what I did for when I started too much in the tech world is I focused mostly on the tech and not on what problem that I'm solving and who I am uniquely. Because technology is simply a tool for execution. It is not replacing. It doesn't solve a problem itself. You have to. It doesn't create you. You have to know who you are and what problem you're solving. Otherwise, you can garbage in, garbage out. You can put a bunch of stuff in there that doesn't provide any value to anybody.
Listen, y'all, that was a gem. Listen, y'all need to go back to that part, rewind that again, put that on while you're going to sleep. That was a gem right there. You listen, how can you solve a problem versus just getting in here? This is so good. And then I know that Tech Coach Ralph was sharing a couple things. He mentioned that, Operation Tech Takeover says Chris Voss is a monster. And of course, Tech Coach Ralph mentioned the book, Never Split the Difference. Former FBI hostage negotiator, great book. I actually listened to him speak in an interview.
It's a great book, and read it over and over again and practice it. It is a great book.
Yeah, absolutely. And then proper DM etiquette. Be professional, write complete sentences, and have a purpose for connecting to start. Absolutely. So good. And then Danny Boy says, what resources or tools do you use to stay up to date with the constantly changing fields of AI and blockchain?
So have them sign up for my email list. You go up to Midwest Con Live. I send stuff all the time. I mean, there's so much that's going on. Like, I don't know if I have like one place. I would say I think A16Z has like an AI Bible. I would go there. That's also a good place to go for actually Web3, because somebody asked that question earlier. So if you go to, like, A16Z created an AI Bible or roadmap. They also created they created the same thing for blockchain. That's where I started with a lot of it, and then I just and you'll see a lot of resources kind of tailor out from there. But also, please sign up. Go to MidwestCon.live. We usually have an email every week where we try to bring out content.
And you said that's MidwestCon.live. You said,
yep.
All right, so
you go there and just sign up for our list, and we'll send you all this stuff.
Okay, perfect. And just so you know, everybody, like what I was saying earlier, his LinkedIn is in the description as well. So if you go in the description of the video, especially on YouTube, you should be able to see it there. And if you're on LinkedIn, you can already just click his name and you'll be able to go straight to his page. But definitely connect with him there. Go to MidwestCon.live.
Yep.
Right. And you can be able to connect there as well, so that you'll be able to get all those resources, because again, he has a mailing list, so he was able to send out this information to you. So definitely appreciate that comment there. And like I said earlier, gems have been dropped, y'all. Gems have been dropped. And so I wanted to talk to you because wait, before I do that, Danny Boy, Tech Coach Ralph mentioned another thing here as well. He says, also setting up an RSS feeds on these topics can aggregate articles, podcasts, etc. based on your search criteria. Make sure MidwestCon.live is your number one.
Coach Ralph is the man.
Oh yeah, he is. He is on it. But it's so true. Like back in the day, we used to do Google alerts, right, for these things.
Yep.
But nowadays, especially utilizing AI, there's ways where you can find this information pretty quickly. So
I mean, that's good. I need to do that too. He's right. I mean, it's there's a lot of great information out there. You just got to be willing to go through it. And I think the most important thing is to take the time in your schedule to do this and be intentional about gathering knowledge. Knowledge is moving so fast that if you're just taking time to be intentional, you're going to be ahead of 99% of people, because most people are just going to, cruise and watch Netflix. Unfortunately, like
yeah,
it's so like you just got to be disciplined about pursuing knowledge and being in the right crowd.
yeah. And let me go back to this hackathon thing, because I want to make sure people understand. Like, this is, as you said, it's for beginners as well, but there's
Yep,
a prize involved with it. Can
absolutely.
can you mention it? Can you go a little bit deeper about that prize? And I'm gonna just
Yeah, I mean, we're really finalizing all of it, but there's going to be I imagine we're going to have cash prizes between $15,000 and $20,000 for all the prizes put together. But there'll be
Mhm.
multiple levels. There'll be ones for the social impact lane. There'll be others for the gaming. Um, we are also we'll be able to give away tools in terms of like credits for AWS. Hopefully credits for ChatGPT. We're working with we're finalizing some stuff with Microsoft. So there'll be things like that. So there'll be like in-kind giveaways as well as for probably everybody that participates. But then there will be cash prizes for multiple levels.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. And again, look at it. The date's right there. It's running August 24th to September 4th. You can
Yep.
find
Because
out
that,
all.
just to be
Yep.
clear, like so some of that can be done virtually too. And so like the final part, like the final people that are chosen will be done like on September 4th. And then the people who become like the main winners will present at MidwestCon on the 5th and 6th.
Yeah, yeah. This is. I got some people in the conversation in the chat. Tech Coach Ralph, he says, "While they chilling, we winning." Then he might get on to this. He's like 15, 20 grand. I was looking at the fact that you could present your, in front of investors and top industry leaders like that
Yeah,
right there. That exposure,
exactly.
that's worth its weight in gold. And then Mitch mentioned as well. Yo, let's do this. I think they'll collaborate on this event. Is it individual or is it could you
You
collaborate
can
in
do
like a
teams.
group?
You can do teams. Yes.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So that's definitely something to check out there. And again, go to midwestcon.live
Yep.
and you'll be able to have access to all of this. You'll be able to also have access. I'm gonna put it in the YouTube description, but you're gonna able to also have
Appreciate it.
access. Oh yeah, absolutely. To the information about the hackathon as well as the conference itself. Oh, we got a friend here. We got Ayana. Ayana's in the
What up? What
building.
up?
Good to see you. Good to see you. She actually spoke recently on a panel for Women's History Month recently with
Yeah,
I'm Breaking the Tech.
I participated a little bit in comment and supported her. So
Yeah.
good to see you.
Yes,
The
yeah.
first
So
lady of the Smith family, or Ayana.
yeah, that's right. She's like the man, the myth, the legend. Rob is in the building. And then Operation Tech Takeover says, Ralph, with your knowledge and articulation, being on stage is perfect for you. Oh yeah. By the way, Tech Coach Ralph. I'm going to shout out him out right here. Let me bring him up so you can see him. He is senior QA analyst and other things as well. And so
He can apply to be a speaker, by the way. So just fill out if you go to Midwest. There's a place. If you go back to the site,
Yep.
if you want to just you go back to the Midwest Con. There's a way back there. Hopefully there is.
Yep. Perfect.
If not, I need to fix that in the site. But yeah, if you go down and see where it says speakers,
Yep.
Apply. Boom, people can apply. So we're gonna close that out in about 2 or 3 weeks. So if anybody on here is going to be a speaker, let us know, because we'd love to have
Howard,
you on.
if you're not, Tech Coach Ralph, definitely check that out as well. I know you're down in Miami, but definitely check that out as
Yeah,
well. There's some
I'll be down in Miami soon anyway. So anybody down in Miami, I'll be down there April 18th through the 21st. So anybody else, let's meet up.
Nice. Yeah, so this is definitely those that want to be speakers. Check that out. There's also volunteer opportunities. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that wants to volunteer obviously would get then free tickets, and they can help. Behind the scenes, they can help with registration. I mean, we'll definitely need a lot of help because we are still a startup. Like anybody that knows that's run a conference, Howard has. These are labors of love that usually don't scale or make any money for about 5 years, right? So like the help in the community and support is great. So any support, yeah, you would definitely get the full access for coming down and volunteering and supporting. And there'll be a lot of opportunities there because we're, again, we're still a startup,
Yeah.
and we definitely would love the community support.
Love it, love it, love it. And so, yeah, Mr. Kentucky, Operation Tech Takeover, not Connecticut, Kentucky.
There you go.
You should definitely probably see if that's something that you can do. And obviously, if I can be there, I will try to help out as best as I can. Like I'm saying that right now, brother. If I can make it, we have our baby due in June, so we'll see
Oh,
how
well, yeah. That's a lot.
September's.
That give me some time and just but that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I might be this year. Might be a little bit of a stretch, but absolutely,
Well, we'll have you in 2025. We're not going anywhere, so we'll be here.
Yeah. So listen, y'all, if y'all don't have any more questions, I'm not going to keep my brother here the entire Saturday. We're coming up to a close, but I guess that part that really kind of stuck to me that I wanted to kind of go back to is policy. You know, you're all about disrupting, you're all about setting up policy. What are some things that we need to look out for as a public in regards to making sure we're on the right side of policy? And hopefully that question makes sense, but
Yeah.
what should we keep our eyes out for so that we could affect change where we live?
Oh, that's great. So I'm going to give you another 3 Ps now, right? So so when we think about making change in the world generally, and now I'm speaking to Black folks here, we usually start with protest, and protest is important and it can spark attention, but protest is not sustainable unless there's policy. And what policy has to look like is that we have to make sure that people are actually doing things that are going to have accountability, for those who are in power making decisions. So I'll give you one clear example. I really think when it comes to algorithms, they need to be specifically when it comes to algorithms that are used in ways that can cause harm, right? Making decisions on health decisions, credit, even social media in terms of how it does things to really hack the brain and push people down paths of extremism. There needs to be more transparency. So I think we need to look for, when it comes to algorithms and everything, we need informed consent and transparency. We need to look for ownership of the data. This is why I think blockchain is going to be really, really important. I don't want to have to rely on 1 or 2 companies to tell me what's fake and what's real. We ought to be able to verify that publicly, and no one controls that. So this is why blockchain is going to be really key when it comes to authentication of ownership and everything else, because otherwise we have to, trust in, pick your company, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, maybe 2 or 3 people, Facebook, that control all the data. We have already seen what it's like to have algorithms without any transparency, without any accountability. So when we're thinking about these things, we need to think about that. We need to think about the fact that when data is being input to these places, they need to be done so in a way that is representative and that understands that bias is a real thing. Those who have created a lot of the technology that we all are inheriting, came from a mindset that we're going to do this totally open, totally free, as if a world exists where there's no bias, there's no history of that. That's not true. And you have that other platform I talked about, X. Its leader believes that, and it's false. And he's really putting things that are, I think, pretty racist and other things like that, and saying that's okay, right? We have a lot of power with who we choose to give our attention and power to, and so we have to understand that sitting out of elections and things like that all people say that, but what really irritates me is that if you may not participate in the election, but you will participate in the consequences. I guarantee.
Wow. Say it. Oh, you will not participate.
You may not participate in the election, but you will participate in the
consequences. Wow.
You get what you don't vote for. So I tell people to stop listening to people that are entertaining, saying things and focused on small BS sound bites, and make sure you're talking to people that actually understand what they're talking about. That doesn't mean any one politician or party is perfect. But when I hear people say sit out of an election, they're telling you to take away your power. Do not listen to that. So there has to be policy, and just start paying attention to people that actually follow policy. Like I've self to myself, you can Disruption Now, you can go to my Disruption Now podcast.
Yes.
Like we talk about these things all the time. Maybe it's not the most entertaining, but it's very important. So I talked about protests. We must have policy that is transparent and we have to fight for that consistently. It's not one or two
Mm.
elections, and make sure you're holding accountable to your local communities that they're doing these things. And so there's the protests, there's policy, but these two mean nothing without power. Okay, power, and we have power as a community. We just don't always claim it, and we let others diminish our power, and we get distracted. We're not poor anymore in terms of we're poorly organized.
Yes.
So we have power. It's going to take consistency, and we can't divorce policy from power. Because I know people like to trust me. There's a reason why people spend billions of dollars to influence an election. It's because who's in charge matters.
Obvious.
And we have to keep fighting and being involved, and then learn technology. And you don't have to be a pro. You don't have to. You just have to know how to do how it basically works, because it affects you just like politics every single way. And so, like, I would just tell people that protest is fine. It's nothing without policy, but all of it means nothing unless we have actual power. And power is in having knowledge. Power is in supporting each other's platform. Power is in learning this technology and not just supporting the current structure. But if you want to disrupt the power structure, technology is the best way to do it. And we participate in it, learn it, work and grow together. And then we use that power to organize how we want to see the world work, which I still think is very, very possible. But we have to get past the cynicism, and what people often do is use that as an excuse because they can't do everything to do nothing. Don't let the excuse that you can't change everything to say you can't do nothing. Every one of you here has the ability to affect some level of change. You don't have to be the leader at the top.
Yeah.
But you can do a few things. Make sure you vote. Make sure you understand basic policy where people stand on some things. And if you're not sure about something, don't just follow social media. Dive into a subject, because most of the things out here is just meant to trigger you, not actually to inform you.
Oh, so good, y'all. So good. Round of applause if you can in the comment section. Go ahead if you have appreciated this live, whether you're on Instagram. Thank you, my Instagram people. Whatever recruiter cousin, I see you there. Or if you're on LinkedIn or if you're on YouTube, go ahead and like this. We definitely appreciate you all for coming through on this episode of Techniche Tips. The goal of this channel is to help you find your niche, or whatever you pronounce it in tech. Right? We want to help you find your home in tech. This was so good. I got to go to the comment section real quickly before we go. Tech Coach Ralph says, thank you, Rob, for all the amazing information. Thank you for another amazing show. We got thank yous coming also from Instagram as well. And a round of applause from Danny Boy. This is so good. Really, really good stuff. I was thinking to say, get this brother in the White House now. I'll say election 2028, but it might be a little too soon. You kind of pivoted already. So I don't know if you want to do it, affect change in that way. But hey, you never know. May never be too late. We got
let's build together an ecosystem and we can change anything. Let's do that.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally agree. Well, listen, y'all, again, thank you so much. The information is going to be in the description below on YouTube. So go ahead and check it out there for sure. Come over to youtube.com/@Techniche Tips. And you could go and get the information, whether it's the courses that we talked about earlier. I'm going to actually try to even get a link to that book that you mentioned as well. And also information to MidwestCon.live. It'll be there as well. So go ahead, check all those resources out on youtube.com/@Techniche Tips. But until then, family, like I always say, I hope to see you on the other side.